I guess what you're saying is that a plateau is not really a plateau. It's just a sort of quieter, weakest link that needs to be identified.
Everyone right now, just asking yourselves listening, what's your current constraint holding you back from growing or having the things you want in your life? Is it something like personal, like insecurities, fears, triggers, sabotaging patterns? Or is it like, I just don't know what the fuck to do?
I hear you saying that you've spent almost $500,000 on self-improvement and all of that. So what moved the needle?
One that's moved the needle the most for me, if I had to pick one, would be Dr. John DeMartini.
I
He
love
teaches
that.
a lot about,
Yeah.
there's no ultimate way to heal where it's like this one modality is going to change your life forever. Maybe it does. And maybe it's that one piece that you're missing or needing to have that big shift. So I had this one client, he came to me, he's part of my program still, and he had been doing therapy for 45 years and he had never actually healed the root cause. And he's like, mate, you just helped me more in 15 minutes than I have in 45 years of therapy.
Welcome to another episode of Rise, Shine, and Grow. And today we have with us Lewis Huckstep. So Lewis is a fulfillment and performance coach who specializes in helping leaders overcome self-sabotaging patterns. I follow Lewis on Instagram, and you know how it is when you can kind of feel somebody's energy and you can tell that they're authentic and they're the real deal. That's what I felt from Lewis. It was his humility, I think, and I'm talking about you, but I'm talking to you also, but his humility, I think his authenticity and his very deep desire to actually help people change. And it's so passionate. You can see, like, he gives it all away. He just gives it all away for free. And there's something about that really caught my attention. And his message is extremely empowering. And it's kind of like cosmic. His message is kind of cosmic, and I'll let you kind of speak. I'll let Lewis kind of tell you a little bit more about that and about how everything that's happening on this 3D Earth is happening for us. But it's all things make a lot more sense than they seem at first glance. I think that's kind of what I get from you also. So Lewis, I'm so happy to be sitting down with you and having this chat, and thank you so much for coming on board today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your energy and I appreciate those kind words. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where this conversation goes. I like just where it flows, and wherever it goes is perfect. So
I think it's going to
excited to be here.
flow like crazy because I sense a little ADD from you maybe, and there's a little ADD from me. And I think we're just going to probably loop around. And then when 40 minutes are up, 40
Perfect.
minutes are up.
Yeah, perfect.
So can I start with congratulations? You just got married?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thank you. It was about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
or year and a couple months ago. So I reposted the video recently, so that's probably what you're
So that's
referring
probably
to.
what I'm
So,
thinking
yeah,
about. Yeah. So congrats.
yeah.
So that's probably a whole
Thank you.
another world of challenges and excitement and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, look, 2 cents on that. I think relationships in general are the ultimate mirrors to us. That's what trigger us, reflect us, and initiate us into our healing and our growth work if you're conscious and aware enough to do the work. I don't think, honestly, marriage has done anything. And that's my absolute transparent answer. Like, people think a marriage makes a relationship successful. I think that's full of shit, to be honest. Like, if anything, it's a celebration of love and bring the family together. But a marriage or getting married for me has not shifted or changed our relationship one bit. Like, we still love each other, we still heal together, we still prioritize each other, and we did that before we had a ring on each other's
Yeah.
fingers. But
Yeah.
I think externally it shifts. Like, people see me differently because I'm married, and they may like respect me differently because I've committed. But yeah, the marriage itself has not changed anything. But
Yeah.
the relationship itself is
Yeah.
very
I mean,
beautiful.
you did a ton of work before your marriage, just from what I follow. So I think that you might be a little bit unique, maybe in that sense. So I want people to follow you, and I want them to see the incredible work that you're doing. And I want to give them some context as to how legitimate you are. So talk a little bit about your childhood and about the volatility that you grew up with, and give yourself some credibility.
Awesome. Look, it's funny because I kind of like talk down the credibility side of me, but I'm a human. I'm a human who loves helping people. I got diagnosed with ADHD, Asperger's, and autism when I was younger. So I had a very dysregulated upbringing. There was a lot of mental, emotional, and physical abuse in my upbringing through dad and family members and childhood in general. So I had a lot of mental and emotional and physical trauma when I grew up. I struggled to understand people because I just viewed things differently. I questioned everything. I take things very literally. That's the Asperger's side to me. I became an overachiever because I learnt to get love and recognition from others I had to achieve, and that was my strategy to do so. So that resulted in me just doing very well at most things that I do: sport, academics, business, and all these things, just to overachieve though. And it was for overcompensation reasons, not for authentic action.
Yeah.
So built up 3 gyms by the age of 22, but it was very much like achieve, 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 achieve. just to prove my worth to the world and prove that I was worthy externally when I was unworthy internally. So hit a breaking point, gave one of the gyms away, sold another one, hired myself out of the third when I was 24,
Busted it all
25.
up, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hit the rock bottom for me. And I was doing a ton of growth at that time. So I was still doing Tony Robbins, NLP, master classes, seminars, programs, masterminds as well. But I got to a point where I scoured myself out of the third gym. I was earning $2,000 to $3,000 a week for an hour worth of work. So I had enough income and time to like really delve deeper into myself. And that's when I got really clear on values, on my purpose, on my mission, my vision, and how to actually step by step get to that point and reverse engineer it so I can then give it back to others. And yeah, I've been coaching for 10 years now. I've been in business for 10 years now, and I've coached over 10,000 people. I wrote a book
Wow.
last year, so that was my big project for 2024. So I wrote that bad
Here's
boy.
the book. Here's the
Um,
book. Just take a look. I'm
Hey,
I'm
awesome.
a
Thank you.
fan.
So yeah, that was my big project for last year. And yeah, I love coach. I generally am very purpose driven and very impact driven. My purpose is to heal and raise consciousness, which comes from my core wound of being hurt, misunderstood, and rejected. So I felt hurt mentally, emotionally, and physically. So that hurt inspires me to heal others. I felt misunderstood and rejected. So it helps me understand myself and teach people how to understand
Yeah.
themselves. So if you look at all the work that I do, my book, my course, my content, my programs, my clients, this podcast right now is around healing and raising consciousness and helping people live a life that they love in their relationships, their finances, their business, their career, their health. So
Yeah.
I do that pretty much full time now. So I'm very grateful to be
I
doing that.
love
And
it. I love it.
yeah,
So
it's fun.
so here's my question. You say on some of your clips and your Instagram and all that, I hear you saying that you've spent almost $500,000 on self-improvement and all of that. And I'm sure some of it was for business purposes and some of it was for personal purposes, and they're probably intermingle. So my question is, with all that money spent and with all those modalities, you've definitely shift. I can just see your energy and your humility and your healthiness and your wholeness. And it's hard for me even
Great.
to imagine the guy you were kind of describing in the past. So what moved the needle?
What moved the needle the most? Is that your question?
What moved the needle across the way? Because I'm sure there were many things that moved the needle across the way, but what was it?
Yeah, I think obviously the starting point is obviously a good needle mover. So that was Tony Robbins. So I started
Okay.
with him 10 years ago. So I went to his Unleash the Power Within event. I did it 3 times where he does the firewalk and you make your move, you change your state and remove limiting beliefs. So I did that when I was 18. So that was like the gateway drug.
Yeah.
I say Tony Robbins is the gateway
Yeah.
drug to self-development. So he got me hooked and I absolutely loved it. Then I went into NLP, I went into timeline therapy, I went into hypnotherapy, I got into the plant medicine and spiritual world, I got into meditation.
But did all those
Dr.
things
Joe,
actually move the needle? Like, which ones would you say actually, like, said like, ooh, this core wounds is dissolved. Oh, this limiting belief doesn't exist anymore? Or was it kind of a slow
I would
progression?
say NLP would be the first one, and that's what Tony Robbins mainly uses. So neuro-linguistic programming for people that aren't aware. So essentially how to rewire beliefs and perceptions. The one that's moved the needle the most for me, if I had to pick one, would be Dr. John DeMartini.
Oh, I
So he
love
teaches
that.
a lot about
Yeah.
So he's my number one mentor. I've got a couple of his books behind me, The Values Factor, The Breakthrough Experience.
Yeah.
So I'm a DeMartini facilitator as well. So I'm actually going to see him next week. So big fan of Dr. John's work. So he's probably inspired and influenced my worldview the most and healing the most. But I talk about this in my content that there's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows every martial art and pulls from the right one at the right time to get the right result.
Yeah.
So there's no ultimate way to heal where it's like this one modality is going to change your life forever. Maybe it does. And maybe it's that one piece that you're missing or needing to have that big shift. But DeMartini as an example, he's very mental.
Yeah.
So if you're a very huge
Mindset.
intellectualizing human where you hide up in your head and you avoid feeling emotions, DeMartini may not actually give you what you're looking for. You may be looking for more of a somatic emotional process like breath work, like somatics, like body work, things that will actually get you into your soma. So somatic experiencing from Dr. Peter Levine. That's where I'm learning right now. He's really, really good. So again, for me personally, DeMartini was the biggest shift as a whole. NLP got me started. Breath work, I did that last year. Yeah. So many different. I've done 9 certifications in different modalities, and I've tried over 20.
Yeah.
So Reiki healing, sound healing, breath work, meditation, plant medicine, and all these other ones. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Hope that
relate
answers
to
your question.
that. Like I just keep learning and learning and then this and that. And I kind of do it because I see what my clients need and I see that they need another piece or another angle, or we're missing how to get the energy out of the body, or we're missing the somatic experiencing and all that. And to a certain extent, I'm grateful because it keeps me like learning. But to a certain extent, it kind of is like, okay, well, I can't really help you past point A or point B if I'm a one trick pony, or even if I'm a two trick pony or a three trick pony. So I guess people like me and like people like you will just keep evolving anyway because we're driven. But do you ever feel like I don't have enough to help my clients, even though I have so many modalities and so much practice, but I'm missing, I don't know, TBT, or I'm missing tapping, or, meaning even if you're familiar with it, but you're not necessarily utilizing it in session.
Yeah, 100%. Like when people come to me, like I'm very authentic and transparent with what I do and what I can offer. And I've had people who, they're wanting certain skills, practically speaking, like how to be better at certain skills that I've got no skills at. And I say, hey, look, I just don't serve in that. That's not my area of expertise necessarily. Here's some recommendations. Here's some people that I think I would happily refer you to. Go check these people
Yeah.
out. I haven't found too many people I can't add value to
Yeah.
as a whole because I've got quite a toolkit
Range.
with me.
Yeah.
But I'm most of my clients is online. I do run in-person events now, so that's my next current
Coming.
focus to build that up.
Sign me up.
Oh,
Yeah.
love to have you there one
Yeah.
day. So it's on the Gold Coast though, so you got to come to Australia.
I'll come to Australia.
But being online, I don't do much body work because I'm online. So if say you've got a lot of somatic stuff where it's like in your body, it's in your nervous system, it's in your tissues, then I'm probably not going to be that much valuable to you because I'm online behind a computer screen.
Right,
So
right.
that's probably not going to serve you as much compared to like going and get a physical massage with body work and emotional healing, like kahuna
Or a
massages. It's like a
craniosacral.
Hawaiian.
Right.
All of that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, so for me, my favorite bodies or my strongest tools that I use is mental and emotional. So I'm very good at helping people process perceptions, which is trauma, or one element to trauma. Beliefs, conscious, unconscious work. That's probably my strongest out of the two. The other one would be emotional. So
Yeah.
nervous system regulation, expressing suppressed emotions, and just allowing your emotional body to change, which is very Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Like if you want to change your personal reality, you change your personality. And thoughts are the language of the mind, emotions are the language of the body. So I'm very good at mental, emotional work. I'm like spiritual body is one of the bodies. I don't see myself ever becoming a shaman
Right.
or taking people through plant medicine ceremonies. Firstly, I don't think you can just decide to do it. I think you need to be born into it. But it's like I'm a big fan of psychedelics. So I take mushrooms every sort of 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to become a shaman by any
Yeah.
means. So it's like I've had people that come to me and they've done some mental work, some emotional work, some physical work, but they're like, fuck, I just feel so disconnected from God and universe and whatever. I said, mate, look into ayahuasca, look into some plant medicine, look into some shamanic healings
Yeah.
maybe. But that's not something don't think I'm ever going to facilitate as a coach.
You're not going to
necessarily.
become, then you'll become like a master of none at that point, maybe.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's good that you like at least had the experiences with it so that you can speak of it and about it. And I actually connect with the two things that you said also, is like the mental, which is like the psychoeducation, understanding what's going on there, and then understanding what's going on there. Those are two places that I always feel like the third would be probably somatic, which I'm also learning right now. I'm taking a 40-hour course. So I relate a lot to it. So here's the question then. Have you ever come across a client that you've been working with one-on-one deeply and found that there was like such a dark place and such a deep trauma that working with them and bringing it up wasn't safe?
Not yet, to be
Okay.
honest. I've had some. I'm one of my strengths is helping people feel very safe and connected. So I do a lot of like regulation before we go into it. So you just like for people that have done any polyvagal theory or done any nervous system work, like you've got your sympathetic, parasympathetic, but you've got your
Hyper and
hyperarousal,
hypoarousal. Yeah.
and then you've got your window of tolerance. So the goal is to keep people in your window of tolerance as often as you can, unless it's time to express some emotion. So maybe it's time to let it out, have a scream, have a cry, get it out. So I'm very good at like knowing when to push it, when to pull it back. So I've like obviously trigger warning for things I'm about to say. So I had this one client, he came to me, he's part of my program still, and he came to me and he had been doing therapy for 45 years and he had never actually healed the root cause to it. Yeah, that's my reaction too. So I said, okay, well, tell me what's up? What's the problem? He's like, I can't tell you. I said, okay, take a big breath in. Just got it to regulate. What's it got to do with? And I just started to chunk it down, very NLP, start broad and chunk it all the way down to it. And we got to the point, trigger warning, he sexualized his cousin when he was like 8 years old.
Okay.
Like he was just being a kid being a curious
Kid
kid.
being a kid.
And he touched his younger cousin in a sexual way as an 8-year-old. And then he had been labeled as a pedophile and a rapist from that
Poor
age.
kid.
So for 45 years of his life, he judged himself, shamed himself, got into toxic patterns for 45 years. And we did my balancing process. That's my trauma process.
I'm going to ask
It's
you
like
about it.
D-Martini,
I'm going to ask you
NLP.
about it. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So heaps of there's 6 modalities in the one for my balancing process. That's why it's really awesome. Anyways, I take him through that, and this is only on a 15-minute call because it's my onboarding call for my clients. I think we went for 30 minutes on this one. And by the end of it, like he felt lighter, his eyes were more open. He had a bit of a cry on the call with me, and he's like, "Mate, you just helped me more in 15 minutes than I have in 45 years of therapy." I said, "Thank you for the kind words." And it's not because I'm so special, which I am very special. I'm just good at knowing the root cause, helping people get their way to the root cause in a healthy, sustainable way, and help them process the root cause so the symptoms go away. I take the piss and say one of the best business models on the planet is to solve someone's symptoms and never solve the root cause. That's what a lot of normal
Right.
talk
And then
therapy
we have
do.
45 years of talk therapy, and
Yep.
and every day we complain about what happened that week. We get validation. We go home and we do the same for the next week, and that's a disaster. All right, it's actually not therapeutic. If anything, it's just kind of like belly button navel gazing. But
Yeah.
So I'm with you there. So I really want to give you an opportunity to explain your magic, because there's a lot of brilliance, and you have almost like an algorithm for like I would call it almost an algorithm, and it makes sense to me, and it's, it pieces together Kabbalistic ideas that I'm aware of and other kind of ideas. But explain how you created this purpose, meaning the inspired life and figuring out your purpose, and then also just quickly getting to that root cause, like just piece together what that model looks like for us.
Yeah, beautiful. Look, it's been a journey. So 10 years since starting the conscious growth journey. So for me, your purpose is an expression of your core wound, and then I'll circle back to how we get to that. So what was most painful for you, or the biggest void for you, becomes most meaningful to you. So since I started, my core wound is around being hurt, misunderstood, and rejected, as I mentioned earlier. So purpose is to heal and raise consciousness. So I'm so intrinsically driven in this area. I love learning about it, studying about it, teaching about it, like spending money on it.
This is what you can do all day, right? This is what it is.
I can do it all day.
Right.
Most of my calendar is coaching.
Yeah.
It's like coaching in this area of what I like coaching with. So I guess as along the journey from Tony Robbins to DeMartini to Joe Dispenza to Wayne Dyer to Peter Levine to Gabor Mate, all these people, it's like you'll take like little pieces that really like hit home for what it is that I'm here to teach. So purpose for me, I actually pieced it together from doing DeMartini. So he teaches values, and values are areas of life that are intrinsically meaningful to you. And he said your highest value, your purpose is an expression of your highest value. And from there, because this is where I then jumped in and pieced off the rest of my process. So your values come from voids. So what was painful for you becomes meaningful to you. If your highest value expressed is your purpose, therefore your biggest core wound or biggest void is where your purpose actually comes from. So that's when I pieced that together. So, okay, how do I help people find their biggest core wounds?
Was it like,
yeah, that was me. Yeah. I think you and me think very similarly.
Yeah, because it's like,
I was like, oh my God.
People make sense.
Just
Things
discovered
make
fire.
sense. Yes.
Yeah. So I had an old way of doing the purpose process. I used to get people to do their values and then use their highest value to go find the core wounds. But now I've actually got a different angle to find the same answer, and I think it's more efficient and hits harder.
You can just find the
I posted
trigger.
a testimonial on my So you find. So I learned this through doing Dr. Vanessa Lapointe's work. So me and my wife are getting ready for kids. So she's a parenting psychologist for kids. And from the ages of, I think it's 0 to 4 or 0 to 3, your parents are gods. They're the universe. There's no separation. There's no individualization of the child. Now, people have heard the 0 to 7 is the imprint zone.
Yes.
That's absolutely true as well. But the lack of separation, I think, is 0 to 3 or 0 to 4.
The complete identification, right?
There's zero identification made. They are you, you are them. And because of that level of closeness and enmeshment with your parents, the most subtle pains or voids is where your core wounds come from. So that's where I use parents to come up with your core wounds. So the process is in my book. It's
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
podcast for free. You can go to it for free. So you get clear on what did you not get from your parents and what did you most want from your parents. Find the theme of that. That will be your core wound. Mine was hurt and feeling unsafe. So then we find the earliest memory you have of the core wound. Go back to that and we breathe through it. We regulate through it, but we also feel intrinsic emotions into it as well. And then we figure out, what did you need back then? I love the quote, you become who you needed when you're at your
Yeah.
lowest. So
Yeah.
then you're like, what did you need? I needed safety, guidance, healing, regulation, awareness, courage, encouragement, all these things.
So it's like
and that's what I give back
IFS,
to
inner
others.
child with somatic and breath work and a couple other sprinkled in pieces.
You sound, I think you'll enjoy this. So I go to events still, like I go to seminars and programs, all that stuff. I continue to learn, and I go to events. And I went to one. His name's Dr. Espen. He's in Australia. He's quite big in Australia. And he's very like Joe Dispenza, DiMartini. He's actually a little bit similar to me. And like we'd go through his processes, and I'm like jotting down what process he's doing. He's like, this is DiMartini, this is Joe Dispenza, this is timeline therapy, this is hypnotherapy. I'm like, okay, this is how he's put this together.
Yeah.
So I think you're doing the same thing. to me. So,
Totally. And this is what I do to myself. Like when I pull from all these places and I create my own thing, and it's my own model and it works. And people ask me what modality I use, and I'm like, the Basya, the Basya modality. But I think that specifically. Let's take it in a little direction, only because I know we don't have a ton of time. So what do you find is the difference between one-on-one versus group in terms of deep work, in terms of process work? And do you feel that because you have a tremendous following and reach right now, and probably large groups of people that you're coaching at once. So talk about how that, how the effectiveness of these different ways of doing things.
Yeah, beautiful. Love it. So for my group stuff, I do leave layers of my processes out just for safety reasons. And for what I do for my balancing process is I tell them no one's allowed to do big T traumas until they've done at least 3 processes, because that's going to allow them to understand the process, already have huge shifts and healings from that. And then once you've done 3, if you have the courage and the strength to do so, then lean into it. So that's why I create a level of safety through that, because it is online. So for my group stuff, I leave layers out to make sure people don't re-traumatize themselves.
Traumatize others.
So,
right.
Yeah. So I keep it like that for those reasons. So I have firstly, and before we get into any inner work, I do emotional regulation, so breath and grounding to actually regulate the nervous system. So then they can regulate through life, but then also regulate themselves through the processes, because when you go through it, obviously things will probably come up. So that's where you want to be able to regulate through it. So I have it have method to the madness. That's why I do that first. In terms of like obviously personal stuff, I can take it deeper. Like I've literally got a obviously personal client in about sort of 15 minutes. And like with her, I believe we're doing a balancing process. It's my first session with her. So I think that's what she wants to do. So with that, obviously I'll tune into where's she at, how much work she done, how courageous does she feel, what's the actual root cause, what's playing out. And then because I'm obviously present with that person, I can go deeper and pendulate in and out of what's going on. And then I run in-person events where it's fun because you get the energy of the room as well. And that's where the energy of the container actually does a lot of the work for you as well. Like you'll have one person start to pop and the heart opens, the tears flow, and then everyone else starts to pop off around them. So that's obviously the unique gift of having in-person events, which is really cool. So that's where my mission is to coach 10 million people to have an inspired life.
Let's do it.
So it's like, how do I give that in all ways, shapes, and forms? So for people who prefer reading books or don't have the budget for the other stuff, start with the book.
The book is powerful.
For the podcast,
or even just follow
free.
you. And if somebody takes advantage, and I'm just saying this, if somebody takes advantage of all your stuff on Instagram and whatever other platforms you're on, reads your book and does your free YouTube stuff, there's a lot of healing just right there. And you're giving it away like so generously, which is one of the things that inspired me.
Thank you, Mom. I appreciate that.
So talk to me about your own journey. Like, was there a point where you said, hey, I'm not in a trauma response, I'm regulated, I'm not doing this hyper overachieving and whatever else is going on with that. And most of my core wounds and limiting beliefs seem to have, don't have that edge where they take over the life. And then there's like a plateau. Did you ever hit a plateau? How did you get past the plateau? Talk about that, if it exists.
Yeah, of course. I'm a human too. So yeah, absolutely. So sometimes I'll jump on like onboarding calls and people pedestal me because I've got an audience, which is stupid anyways, but they're like, oh my God, you're here. I'm like, I'm a fucking human.
Yeah.
I'm a human as well. So I've got my insecurities. I've got trauma. I'm just like you. Anyways, so my mind instantly went to the theory of constraints. So I've been going heavy on this lately. So a system grows to its lowest constraint. So I use business as an example. So say The market of a business was a 10 out of 10. The sales of a business was a 10 out of 10, but the product of the business was a 1 out of 10. The product is the obvious
Yeah.
constraint. So we want to fix the
Weakest
constraint,
link.
deep bottleneck
Right.
the bottleneck, then you'll rise to the next
Yeah.
one. So then that business, say we fix the product, make the product better, the business would grow, but then something else would break. It might be customer fulfillment, customer care, systems, processes, culture, something else, right? So human beings grow to their lowest constraint. It will either be a skill or it will be something mental or emotional or personal within the person.
Yeah.
And this is Tony Robbins 101. Success is 20% skills, 80% psychology. So in general, the goal is to find where's your lowest constraint. So I go through seasons, I think everyone does, between hustling or healing. So it's either you're sabotaging, you're triggered, you're overwhelmed,
Totally.
you're dysregulated, you are just like in fight or flight, you're in a trauma response. And it's like, no matter what you give them skill wise, it's not going to land. They're not ready for it. Their nervous system can't handle anything. So it's like, okay, let's take some time. Let's
Yeah.
regulate. Let's do some inner work and heal and
And take a
process
step
and
up.
integrate. Then you'll rise. And it's like, great, let's
And they'll
take some
find
action.
brand
And then
new,
you're like, holy
brand new
shit.
triggers and brand new things.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And so
Yeah.
even, I guess what
So
you're saying is that a plateau is not really a plateau. It's just a sort of quieter, weakest link that needs to be identified. Right. It's still there.
yeah,
but
it's the constraint.
a constraint or the weakest link, or right. It's a plateau is just a new constraint, and it just needs to be vetted out. I like that answer.
100%.
Yeah. Thank you. I like
So
that.
if you can just constantly find that in your own personal professional life, if everyone right now just asking yourselves listening, what's your current constraint holding you back from growing or having the things you want in your life? Is it something like personal, like insecurities, fears, triggers, sabotaging patterns? Or is it like, I just don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know how to market. I don't know how to film content. I don't know how to actually do the
Right.
thing. Then go learn the skill or go work on yourself.
Pinpoint right
and then
in.
you'll grow to the next
Yeah,
one.
amazing, amazing. And so you kind of segued into one of my last questions, which is perfect because I see we have like maybe 8 or 10 minutes left. So when people have a big following, there tends to be like a guru pedestal that people may put you on, or from the other way around, it's like, oh, I start getting this inflated ego where it's just like, I am God, I'm a guru. And so my question is, do you struggle with that internally? Like, meaning, do you have to humble yourself because you see yourself sort of blowing up, or the opposite? Or what's it like for you to have so many followers?
Look, I don't. I would like to think I'm quite aware of it, and so I'm able to de-pedestal myself. I receive it externally, and I just try to like dismiss it. I learn to receive, so receive the praise,
Yeah.
receive the love. Thank you for recognizing
Yeah.
me, and I thank you for celebrating me. Thank you. I receive. But I personally don't value it very highly. I value the coaching.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm more proud of the impact I'm
Yeah.
making than how many followers
Yeah.
I've got. But obviously the followers can then translate to coaching. So I see that link
Yeah.
there. So I've got a good friend. She'd actually be hilarious on your podcast. She's like super
Send her
spiritual.
my
Like
way.
she's 10 out of 10
Send her my
spiritual.
way.
I'm like 3 out of 10 spiritual. She's like 11, 15 out of 10.
She
Her
may be
name's
2.
Natalie
I'm like
Patterson.
7 out of 10. So
She's hilarious. So she teaches light language. So she anyways, we won't talk about that. So
okay, got
anyways,
it.
I'm in a
She's a
mastermind with her.
lamp lighter. Yeah,
Oh,
oh,
100%.
totally.
She's like next level. Anyway, so Natalie Patterson, I love you. If you're, she just
Hi,
had a beautiful
Natalie.
baby. And anyways, she makes more money than me. So she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, does really, really well, made millions and millions of dollars doing what she does. But she values like branding and being famous. She always says it. So like I'll rock up to we're in this mastermind for like learning and coaching reasons. I'll rock up every time I say, Louis, you're so famous. How do I become famous like you? I'm like, hun, you're making more money than me. You're helping more people than me. I think I'm helping more like broader, but she's got more like cash coming into a bank
I
account.
don't know if you
So I'm
know
like,
how
hun,
many
like-
people you're
like-
helping, because I guess,
Yeah.
people are just watching I guess if you count every like and every follower and every view as someone you're helping, then maybe you'll have a pretty clear picture.
Like if you go that metric, I measure my metric personally of people that have come to do intimate work with me, but 100%, like there's people, I've had hundreds of millions of views
You've
online,
helped me,
but
and I'm not a client,
yeah,
so
sorry.
don't
Yeah.
count just clients. Don't do that. Yeah.
Thank you, love. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I will receive that. Thank you. So, but in short, I haven't had that much of an issue with it. I have definitely caught myself as like when people like you reached out to me. Oh, perfect example. When you asked about the podcast,
You were so
one
humble.
of the metrics I do when I do look through, because I do get a lot of offers to come on a podcast, I think because of the audience. So people reach out. So there's 3 main things I look for. Number 1 is audience, because obviously that allows me to reach more
Yes.
people. So that's definitely one lens I look through.
Yes.
Second is the host themselves. Are they conscious? Have they done the work? Obviously, big green tick from you. And third the content they produce from it, which again, from you, big green
Yeah.
tick.
Yeah.
So for me, I must have at least 2 of the
Yeah.
3 for me to move forward. Like, you don't have the biggest audience on the planet, but that wasn't the thing for
Right.
me. It was like, you seem like super conscious, you've done a lot of work, and this would be a great conversation. And second, it looks like you're gonna make some cool content off the back
Yeah.
end, which I can then share and
Yeah.
help more
Yeah.
people. So yeah, I do catch myself because sometimes I like someone will reach out to me, it's like, "Oh, they've got no followers, they've got no value to add." Like, I've had that thought pop
Yeah.
up. So then I humble myself and be like, followers is just one metric. Some people are like so incredibly powerful at what they do and so embodied. Like, I've had one podcast, exact same
Yeah.
thing. He didn't have a big audience, but he was super conscious, done a lot of work, and we had a great conversation. I think he had like 500 followers.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I looked at his work, I'm like, because I'm sure you've seen
honed
this
in.
before.
Yeah.
People online look incredible, and then you meet them, you're like, who the fuck is this person? You're like, they look really good online. So there's this gentleman, I do forget his name off the top of my head, but he looked super grounded, super in touch with himself, he was a men's coach, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he looked like very centered and very humble and all these things. And then I met him on the podcast, and like, I'm like, you are such an awesome human. You are so fucking good to chat to. So I've definitely had to catch
Yeah.
myself because I'm like, oh, they've got followers, they must be doing
Yeah.
good, but that's not always the truth. So
Yeah.
yes, so I think I'm pretty good at it, but I still definitely
I think you're good at it. That's why I asked, because I felt a sense of wholeness and humility surrounding it, which I really appreciated. And you just bring a fun energy. Do I have time for one more question? 2 more questions?
Yeah, please
because I
fire
want you
away.
to be able to take a breath before your client. But I guess takeaways. First of all, what are you reading right now? What are you into? You said somatic, but anything else that that's inspiring you right now?
Yeah, I kind of dance between like professional growth and personal growth. So right now, personal growth. So I'm loving Peter Levine. Like,
Okay.
I've heard of him before, but I haven't actually jumped into his
Okay.
world. And my style of learning is when I'll learn like one thing, I'll be like entrenched in it for like his podcasts, his
Inhale
books, his
it.
courses, his programs, and just like I just want to like be in the world of it. So somatic experiencing, I was Googling, I think yesterday, somatic experiencing certifications. I think that's the next one I want to add to the toolkit.
I can send you a link to the
internal
one I
family
just signed up.
systems. Please send it through. I'll definitely have a look see. So internal family systems is on the radar as well. I forget his name. What's his name?
Dick Schwartz, Richard Schwartz. Dick Schwartz.
So I've listened to him. I've got his book. That's the
No
next
Bad
on my hit list
Parts.
to
No
read.
Bad Parts.
That book is literally on my windowsill, just over there. So
You know what's going to happen when you read his
yeah.
book and you get into it? You're going to be like, I knew this before I read this, and I'm doing this already. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah, because from what I've gathered from it, because I've done it as a client, I've gone through a process. I asked the guy, hey, what modality do we do? And he said internal family systems. Because I do that intuitively. It's like, breathe into your body. What emotion is present here? Let's breathe into it. Let's feel it. Let's let go of it. Does it feel safe right now to let go of it? So I'm doing like sort of that style without knowing that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So looking forward to whacking into that
you're
as
gonna
well.
you're gonna like it. I think it'll add. Okay, so takeaways for our listeners: solid little, if they're not going to sign up with you, or if they're not going to sign up with me, or if this, just something that they can take home and integrate.
Broad question. I would say just keep working on yourself and just start somewhere. Like if you resonated, when I say looking for a coach, there's 3 things I normally look for. Number 1 is, do you like their energy? Do you resonate with them? Do you like them? Do you are they on the same frequency as you, if you want to go that angle as well? Second, do they embody the work that they teach? Because there's a difference between logically knowing something versus embodying it and doing and being the expression of it. It's kind of like the unhealthy personal trainer. I wouldn't listen to an unhealthy personal trainer. And then third, they have proven results for others, because there's a difference between helping self and helping others. It is a different skill set. So that's what I recommend. So look for, what's your biggest constraint right now? Is it, hey, look, I'm super insecure, I'm super triggered, I'm sabotaging like hell, I don't know who I am, I'm lacking direction. Then probably some personal work is probably going to be your biggest use of time. Or maybe it's like, you know what, I feel pretty good. Like, I want to take action. I've got the energy and I've got the focus. I just don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Then it's like, well, maybe some skills is needed.
That might be like a
strategy
strategy coach or something like that, as opposed to a deep inner work type of thing. Yeah. So I like that. What do you do for fun?
I'm a gamer, so I love games. So I play Pokemon Go to this day. I played it this morning. So I love video games. Any form of games is me. I'm playing paddle. It's like pickleball or paddle. It's like I'm playing the paddle version this weekend. So any form of like game, either video games or sports games. I love games.
Do you like a puzzle kind of game? Because I'm going to tell you a game that if you get into it, it's going to ruin your life. It's called 2048.
2048. Now I'm gonna write
write
it
it
down.
down.
So we play like
It's on,
Monopoly Deal. We love that stuff.
it's on your phone. It's an app, and it's just very addictive. And it's kind of like it's kind of deep. And like you'll see,
Okay.
you'll play it.
I've written it
Yeah,
down. So we play me and my wife and our good friends. We play Mario Party quite
yeah,
frequently. So yeah, like video games, card
nice,
games, board games, sports games, games. Full
love
stop
it,
is gets me
love
going.
it. Do you still surf and all that stuff?
I'm not
Or
a
not
surfer.
surf, but there was something rugby. That's what it was.
Rugby. That's it. So rugby. I dislocated my knee like 6 times when I was playing and going for like the career
Okay,
for it. So the injury has put me off playing it professionally, but I still like do it for fun and do it casually.
got
But
it.
I would not if I could guarantee there was no injuries, I'd be still playing to this day. But yeah, my
You got to
knee
watch
is
over
kind of
it.
taken me off
Yeah.
now.
And have you been to America?
I went there for a Herbalife conference like years ago.
Oh,
So when I first
of
started business,
all of all
we did Herbalife.
conferences to come in for, like what a shame, right?
Because that was my first business venture. So
Did you do well
that
with
was when I
it?
started when I was 18.
Did you do?
Yeah, I did well. I was the overachiever. Of course I did well.
You're
So
the two. You're the 2%er.
I was I was the youngest in Australia to hit it's called Get Team, if any Herbalifers are out there. I hit Get Team when I was 19. So you're earning essentially, I think, like $4,000 to $5,000 a month
Nice.
through
As a
it or something
kid,
like that. I
that's
can't remember
nice.
what it was.
Yeah.
But so it was nice income. And then I qualified for the Extravaganza was the name of it. So so I flew to that. It was at St.
Yeah,
Louis,
Missouri, St.
St.
Louis,
Louis or something.
Missouri, with the arch
Uh,
and all that.
so
Yeah,
Yep. So went there for
Midwest.
that conference,
Nice,
and then I had a friend who lived in New York, so we flew over to New York to see him as well.
nice.
Then I shot back,
Got
and
it.
I went to Hawaii actually for is that classified as states?
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's
Yeah.
part of
So
USA. Yeah. So we
so
count it
uh,
as our own. So
cool. I went there for a business mastermind maybe like 7 years ago, maybe for like business mastermind. I listened to Brian Tracy was there, and someone else was really good. I'm forgetting his name, but it was
yeah,
really good
nice.
conference
Okay.
I went
So
to.
when you head back, let us know.
Yeah,
We'd love to meet
would
in
love to.
person. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. I'm
That'd be
going to
awesome.
let you go. I know you have a client, but I really appreciate you
Yeah.
spending the time. And sorry for being late. I could have. I have so
No,
much more to
no,
ask
no
you. So
stress.
this is on me. But
Yeah, and if we want to do
we'll
it,
do a part
if you want
two
to
in
do
a
another
little
round
bit.
as well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing.
would love that. That'd
Yeah.
be awesome. I
Amazing.
appreciate you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care.